There's a really big problem, as I see it, with the world, a particular aspect of the world, of our society, that I would like to propose a solution for. Let me propose the solution and then I'll go into the reasons why. I think names should be numbers. I think the fact that we live in the 21st century and we're still relying on names is just absolutely absurd for a few reasons. Now this is gonna sound pretty crazy, right? But it's not. The first reason is actually sort of a minor one. Well, it was major to me. I was watching this baseball game. The baseball playoffs are going on right now. It's like the big baseball tournament where they try to win the games, and there was this one player and he had the last name of this girl who completely broke my heart. So every time he came up to the plate to hit the ball, the commentators kept saying his name. And it kept bringing back memories of that girl who broke my heart, you know? And I don't want to... I mean, the point of baseball on TV is to relax, to enjoy the moment, to escape from life, from the struggles of life. And to just have this constant reminder every time he'd catch the ball, every time he'd hit the ball, oh, there goes, you know. It's like, really? Like, I started going on mute every time he'd pop up on screen, and even then, you know, just his face, it reminded me of his name, and it was such a painful experience. And I just think about the society we live in is built around comfort, right? Our world is built around comfort, around convenience, and we've got fluffy chairs that recline in our perfectly insulated homes with AC that goes to the perfect temperature and heater that goes to the perfect temperature. Right, and we jump in our comfy cars and go to work and never have to deal with the rain or the elements, and we're so insulated from everything that hurts us, from everything that brings us pain. And yet I can't even escape from this girl who broke my heart because her name has such a weight to it. It's absurd. If her name had been just a number, and everyone had a unique number, this wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so that reason might sound a little petty. That was just a minor reason. There's a much more serious reason though, and much more just like, whoa, are we seriously doing this? And then I've got one more minor reason too. It's like a reason sandwich. Minor, major, minor. I think that's the best way to construct an argument. At least that's what I've been told. All right, so the major reason, and this is something I wasn't even aware of was a thing for like until now, like years into my life. Literally decades. So my name's Claudio, which here in the United States is not a common name. I don't think I've ever known, I've known famous people named Claudio, but I've never known someone in real life who's named Claudio. I've never been in the same room as another Claudio. I've never been in the same class as another Claudio. I've never had a friend named Claudio. I've never conversed with a Claudio. I've never been on a busy street and someone say the name Claudio and me look and me realize that they were talking to a different Claudio like that. As far as I'm concerned, I am the only Claudio ever. So I didn't even really realize that this was a struggle that millions of people face every single day, but I was watching this show. It's this Brazilian show. And there's this Claudio, this character named Claudio in the show. It's the first time I've ever watched something where there was like a Claudio and there were people talking about Claudio and asking about Claudio. They said it in a Brazilian accent, of course. They'd be like, Claudio. And essentially what happens is there's this Claudio, unfortunately, sort of a minor character, sort of a love interest of one of the main girls. So the main girl is kind of interested in this Claudio. She goes on a first date with him. She comes back to hang out with her main friend, and they start talking. And the friend's like, so how did it go? You know, how did it go with Claudio? Did you like him? What did you think of him? Are you gonna go on another date with him? What's he like? I'm laying on the couch watching, like total relaxed mode, total chilling, and suddenly I just totally tense up. And I'm like, whoa, I do not know if I want to know this right now. And it took me like a full 3 seconds to be like, oh no, we're good. This isn't me they're talking about, this is the Claudio from the show. Even though she said, what did you think of Claudio? Different one. And I realized, this much, do you think about Sarah, you think about John, you think about Sam, you think about how often this must happen to them? Right? Just relaxing, watching TV, someone says your name, and it's just an instinctual thing. Like when your name is spoken, your ears perk up, your body reacts. And it can catch you off guard if you're just for me, it was jarring. I was like, oh my gosh, Sam deals with this like every day of her life? I've never felt so bad for John, ever. And, it's obviously not just TV. If you're anywhere out in the world, coffee shop, mall, park, basketball game, you probably get it all the time. You hear names, you think they're talking to you, and they're not, and it's just like, man, if we just had numbers, if our names were just numbers, these types of issues would never be a thing. And this is coming from someone who's had a very unique name his whole life, especially considering where he grew up. I'm not even like the one who suffers most from this. But in a world that is built around comfort, I cannot believe this has not been addressed thus far. Would it be kind of tedious, Because name 1 and 2 and once we name people 1 and 2 and 3, name numbers, like if we name people numbers, the numbers are gonna start getting pretty high. So will it be tedious when you're talking to your friend and you're like, hey, 1,02,003,057,146. Could you come take a look at this? Could you help me with my homework? That might be kind of shitty. Yeah, granted. But life's about trade-offs, and I think that is a trade-off worth taking. Based on, and I have my third reason too. Now, the third reason, as I said, this is another minor one, but this might just be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And this is Instagram names, right? When you go to make an Instagram account, everyone tries to just write their name, right? So how cool would that just be? Sarah, Alice, Frank, Bon Jovi. But inevitably, Instagram hits you with the good old, this username has already been taken, right? So you try to be as creative as possible, but inevitably, there's about at least a 60% chance you end up sounding like a complete tool with your Instagram username. It's just a fact, you try to be creative, you try to be cheeky, you try to be smart, you try to be clean. There's something about Instagram names that no matter how creative you try to be, no matter how simplistic, you just end up looking like a tool. And think about all the friendships that haven't gone through because you meet someone, they give you their Instagram handle, and you're like, that's the name you chose, and you decide to never talk to them again because of that. And maybe they were a really good person, a really genuine person, maybe it would have blossomed into a really amazing friendship, but your principles just didn't allow you to intertwine with someone who has an Instagram name like that. But if names were numbers, you would just put your number, easy, done, right? You wouldn't have to judge them based on that, right? I think people get a lot of judgments based on what their names are, and it's completely unfair because it's the fault of the parents. The biggest example of this is when people have like really common names, and you can't help but think to yourself like, man, your parents were just really uncreative, weren't they? And it's unfair to that person because, we tell ourselves to not judge a book by its cover, but it's like, man, if the parents did that, like can the child really stray so far from the apple tree? And it becomes a case of having to prove that, like, no, I am not what my name tells you that I am. I don't know. There's just so many problems with names. I could go on all day.